I'm Logan Crawford, and this is Team NFTStudio24. For this podcast interview, we have a special guest from ENCODE Graphics. In today's session, we will be discussing ENCODE's latest collection, the Nexus 5. NFTStudio24 is a global media platform dedicated to empowering the emerging world of decentralization, blockchain, metaverse, NFT, and crypto by reporting on the latest and most authentic news. We interview various figures to highlight their expertise and contributions to the industry in hopes of conveying the right message to our global audience. ENCODE Graphics is an emerging NFT-based comic book and art publishing company that incorporates the world of storytelling, comic art, and new technologies to generate NFTs that are only available to founders. The comics are mainly centered around futuristic themes, superheroes, action, and adventure genres. As a leading cryptoborn comic publisher in the NFT space, ENCODE Graphics hopes to empower new and veteran comics through its platform. ENCODE Graphics just recently launched its own comic series for the Nexus 5. It is a collection of 8,888 unique avatars designed to compete against other avatars in the metaverse. It is a new concept that has never been introduced before until right now. Let's say hello to our guest from ENCODE Graphics, Pr1mal Cypher. Pr1mal, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. It's well said. Everything you said, well said.
Thank you, my friend. You know, comic books have always been popular for a long time. When I was a kid, I read Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. There's always been the battle between Marvel and DC, but this is a whole new world now for young adults, for teenagers, and even adults like myself. Please give us an introduction so we understand the idea behind ENCODE Graphics and what makes it unique amongst all these other comic publishers.
Yeah, I think, ENCODE has quite a long track record until this point, almost 1.5 years. And I think the special thing about ENCODE Graphics is that it's a cryptoborn comic publishing company. It has its roots in this space, and I actually started as a solo crypto artist, and I always was a comic enthusiast. And after a while being in the space, I had the feeling I want to do something new. I want to bring in more comic artists and try something totally new. And I was I did a collaboration actually with Jose Delbo, who is I think he's already 90 years old. I mean, he has a lot of experience in the whole comic art world, and it was really fun to work with him. And after he did his really huge Wonder Woman drop, where he made I think around 1.4 million USD, DC stepped in and said, no, artists, you're not allowed to take our figures and characters. And I thought, well, if someone makes a unique one-of-one drawing, it shouldn't be a problem, actually. And I think all this was one factor that functioned like an initial spark for ENCODE Graphics. And yeah, and I worked with other people like Mark McKenna, Will Conrad, and both are doing a lot of NFTs since quite a while in the scene. And yeah, so the idea grew and grew, and I started it 2020, and it was almost a year pre-work until ENCODE went live. And unfortunately, we had some struggles. We had some struggles from the developer side, but the art side never stopped working hard on so many different things. And even if we have some struggles, we will overcome them, and we're in the middle of this process. And yeah, I'm totally looking forward what's coming next. So that's really exciting. It's a cryptoborn comic publishing company.
Are the basics the same? Is the artwork more or less the same? It's just a different medium?
Pardon, I don't understand the question.
The artwork, Is it
Yeah.
similar to the artwork that you would find in a conventional comic book, or is this
Oh,
a whole new world?
yes, I think the artworks are top notch. They are high standard, and yeah, together with the NFT components, it's something outstanding. I mean, if you compare with basically, ENCODE Graphics was the very first comic publishing company in the crypto art space, with the goal to create several different series, right? And a while after that, other already established traditional comic art, comic publishing companies stepped into the NFT scene. But what they actually did is they just focused on the digital side.
Mhm.
And ENCODE always had this big goal to bridge both worlds and merge them together into one in various ways. And yeah.
You've basically built your own world. This crypto-born comic book world has its
Yeah.
own universe. Give us a little background to how the company came about, how it came into being.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it actually started as an art project. I thought I want to bundle and some different comic artists, and the first idea I had was based on this very very famous Reddit post, actually, the Bitcoin time traveler. And I always thought this was a really exciting article because it's Bitcoin history, right? Where a person claims that he is from the future, and he describes how our society is in this futuristic dystopian version of our Earth. And I thought this is outstanding. And somehow this article came back to me, and I thought, what if we create a comic book that is placed far in the future, 2084, and Satoshi Nakamoto is still alive, and he's a central figure in the whole global politics and everything, actually. And yeah, it started out with 2084 and this idea, and I could connect some dots to my solo artworks. And yeah, so what we did next was that Will Conrad, Mark McKenna, and we and also Tyler Kirkham, who is very famous in the comic space, we created a Genesis drop on Nifty Gateway back in the days. It was April and June last year. And especially the first one was very, yeah, people loved it. It was quite a popular drop. And after this drop, I decided, okay, it's time to create a serious company around that. And I mean, yeah, it's still a startup, but it's a serious company now. And yeah, different artists joined, some more or less, some work for hire, but it's a nice ecosystem of different artists and also some very famous ones. And yeah.
It sounds like a wonderful collaboration. I'm sure it's going to have a very strong audience going forward, and has a very strong niche audience right now. Tell me about your latest creation rather, the Nexus 5.
Yeah, the Nexus 5 is actually centered in an own metaverse called the Nexus 5. It's a fictional metaverse and also plays in the future and has some dystopian touch. And the idea for the Nexus 5 came up when Bored Ape Yacht Club released their Avatar collection, and CryptoBunks were already very popular and started to rise in prices. And I thought, okay, they're really nice, all these profile picture projects, and they're doing a good job, etc. But something is missing. And I wanted to expand this whole idea of a profile picture project, and thought, okay, I contacted my partner, Ari Pratama, who is an awesome designer. And I set up a huge document and worked out the plan for the Nexus. So in the first step, we wanted to have these 8,888 unique avatars. And by the way, they are all handmade, not auto-generated or so. It was an amazing workload to create all these avatars. And in a second step, I thought, okay, we are a comic publishing company, so we definitely need a comic book around that. And we created the first 3 scripts for the first arc, and two of the first issues are already drawn, and the first is still in the coloring stage, and it will be free to read on the website, the Nexus nexus.io. And the third component, beside the comic and the avatars, is actually a game. I always was quite a fan of advanced Dungeons and Dragons and dice and roll mechanics, and how should I say, games in general where you can play a little bit strategical and also have this fortune component. So with the dice roll mechanics, you have the fortune components, but with all the main stats like strength, intelligence, and the different skills and the different classes of the avatars, you actually have to work out a strategy plan. How can I play them the best? And yeah, at the moment, as most of you know, the crypto scene is unfortunately quite down. Crypto prices felt huge, especially in the last days. And of course, the NFT scene is facing a totally different environment. I mean, projects give away their NFTs for free. Many people left the space because I would assume 50% of the people are just flippers. They want to buy an NFT and sell it for more. Yeah, the die-hard fans that are in the space since my early days, who are actually very excited about NFTs and are totally NFT enthusiasts, they are still here. But yeah, in general, not that many people buy NFTs at the moment. So our project launched in the worst time ever and did not succeed. So the Nexus 5 succeeded in how should I say, on one hand, it succeeded because it's such a beautiful project. It has outstanding avatars. The artwork is top notch. People will love the comic. The game is coded, the whole game engine, but not the network behind it. First steps are done, but it succeeded in this way, but on the other side it failed because it did not sell out, or there is not enough funding to create this game component more profound, because actually we had much more plans to create expansions, that avatars can have connected items and all this stuff, that there is more and more value for an avatar over time. And so ENCODE Graphics and its partner company for this sub-project, MetaTree Development, are currently in a situation where we have to discuss a restructure of the Nexus 5. And I hope we will get to a solution in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But the project is still online, and yeah, it's one of the main components of ENCODE Graphics.
Interesting. Yeah. Also, the avatars from Nexus 5 will compete against other avatars in the metaverse. Tell me a little bit about how that will work.
Yeah, that was the initial idea of the whole game setup. It's a player versus player, 1 versus 1. So an avatar basically can log into the network and I have to say a wallet or a player can log into the network, and if he holds more avatars, he can choose with which avatar he wants to play. There are 4 different classes: soldier, cyber priest, a hacker, and he just logs into the network, chooses his avatar, and looks for a fight. And in this 1v1 fights, he can activate abilities, make regular attacks, and he has a certain hit point amount, and yeah, he can level up, of course. And so for now, we have 20 levels, and the higher someone gets, the better the avatar will be. And actually the nice thing about that is that you basically can sell your avatar with all the current stats and level ups. So the more you play, the more value you will have with the avatar. But as I mentioned, it all stands and falls with our decision and the market.
This has become a very unique space in the metaverse, this comic art world. You have collaboration right now with various artists. Where do you see that going?
For the Nexus 5, for example, we work with Marcus Ramos. He's a young and enthusiastic comic artist. I think he's 22 or so, but he's outstanding. And I want that he's doing the entire the Nexus 5 comic series. But for other I think for other comics, and there is a lot of potential. I'm in contact again with Derek Robertson, who is co-creator of The Boys. Most of you will know the Amazon series, for example, which launched season 3 on Amazon, I think, some weeks ago. And yeah, Derek Robertson also created a Transmetropolitan and is quite an outstanding artist. And I'm looking forward to work with him again. And there are so many other artists I'm in contact with because I think 2084, it all started with 2084. This is actually the main title of ENCODE Graphics. And founders will receive very limited print runs, and everyone who is a collector in a traditional comic scene knows that print runs of 3,000 or 4,000, even 10K are actually low print runs. And ENCODE Graphics creates very low print runs only for founders. They will have around 500, some will just have 100 because these are special editions bridged with an NFT in the comic book, in the actual comic book. And now some people will ask, okay, but that's not that much, 500 comic books. What are you doing with the rest? And yeah, for 2084, I'm actually in contact with Dark Horse at the moment. The correspondence is very slow because, I mean, they are a huge comic company, which is also doing movies and some series and other stuff. And they create a revenue of 100 million per year. I mean, they have a lot to do, but they are very interested to publish 2084 that I created with Mike Barron, who is an Eisner Award winner back in the days. I think he won 2. And yeah, that's actually what we plan to do, to publish the rest outside of the limited founder editions with Dark Horse. And so we will have bigger print runs. And that's quite exciting because it's also a bridge between the cryptoborn NFT project and the traditional comic art world. And I'm excited for that.
It sounds like an exciting new chapter for you guys. It also makes those people who hold the crypto version of it, they are holding something very, very valuable because they're a part of a small pool that's about to get much, much larger. So it's kind of like having a rare edition of a Superman comic or a Batman comic, for example.
Yeah, Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah,
NFTs usually give owners the right to an item, but ENCODE has made a little exception with this. They call it outsiders for the Nexus project. Tell us a little bit about how the exclusive property of ENCODE Graphics remains theirs and how it works. And tell me a little bit about the holding rights for the avatars.
yeah. So I have to go back to the Nexus 5 project, because the outsiders are actually part of the Nexus 5, and there
Gotcha.
are 5 different factions. You don't only have classes, you also have factions. And one faction, for example, is the faction of gamers, where you have human, cyberpunk-oriented avatars, males and females, and then you have robots, aliens, and apes. And the outsiders are the most rare ones. There are only 28. They're are really unique. I mean, all are unique, but they they are a little bit more unique.
Gotcha.
And
These are the truly collectible ones.
oh, actually, all rares and legendaries from the other factions are also very highly collectible, highly collect. High, yeah, the high, yeah,
Yeah, there's
highly
like a
collect.
hierarchy. They're all
Yeah,
highly collectible, but some are more rare than others, I presume.
yes, yes, and
Yeah.
the outsiders, there are only 28, and the reason is, to answer your question, they are actually in the comic story itself,
Gotcha.
and so
So you're
I
owning a
think
main character, basically.
you're owning a main character, and they are they don't give you the right to make commercial stuff with
Right.
the actual avatar, but what you will get is a unique variant cover with your avatar on it, and that's something very outstanding, because normally a comic publishing company does not do that, because it makes no sense. I mean, if you have a comic book that where you just have one unique comic cover variant, it's not scalable, right? But
Right.
here it is a nice feature. So there will be 28 unique variant covers of the Nexus #1, and they will be claimable for all outsider holders. So far, and as I mentioned, because the market is really down and the collection did not mint out, just a few, I think 3 or 4 outsiders have been minted, and the rest is not minted yet. And yeah, let's see how it turns out. And but I think it's a very nice feature, especially for comic enthusiasts and collectors of physical comic books. Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've touched upon it a little bit that you hope to bridge the gap between the metaverse and the conventional publishing world. What
Mhm.
are your plans for 2023?
Um, okay, so I would have to start with short-term goals. I mentioned the Nexus 5. That's basically done for now. We have to restructure it. We are working on 2084, the comic series. Just finished the drawing for issue #3, and are in the coloring stage. I work out that a little bit more. And one thing that has the main priority at the moment is to create the ENCODE network overhaul for our NFT base or network, where people, where founder can log in with their founder keys and claim different NFT items, and read the comic books, mint the comic books, participate in raffles, and all this stuff. And we in the last 2 weeks, we worked out a very detailed project structure plan. I hired a new project manager who has a long track record in working with big global companies, and it looks very good so far. We also will add some new features. I don't want to speak about that yet, but we will. So the short-term goal is in June. We want to finish up the whole scope, the whole project plan and start in July with the overhaul, with the ENCODE network overhaul. And it basically will be a complete revamp, because the first system, it's still online, you can use it, but yeah, it was not very clean, and we want to build it very solid again. And I think that's the main priority. And and other short-term goals will be to reach out more to other artists again. I'm already in contact with them, and we create a lot of artworks. And for the midterm, one of that's actually something I did not mention yet, because I was so focused on the Nexus 5 and 2084, but there is also the comic series called Metadales. It's a black and white anthology. It contains short stories and one more or less ongoing story within the comic stories. And I reached out to more authors, and we are writing more stuff. We created around 4.5 issues now. 2 were released as NFTs. And but what beside Metadata, what I did not mention is my future focus more on to the NFT scene and the crypto art scene, and actually projects I really like. I mean, there are so many nice projects out there, and they made NFT history somehow. To mention CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Yacht Club. We have some individual collectors who gave us the licensing for their avatars, and it should be actually a project where we combine all these different projects. And of course, I'm very enthusiastic about CyberConks. Big shout out to them. So ENCODE Graphics is also in contact with this team, and of course World Wide Web, because they also have the spirit of bridging and unifying different communities in their metaverse. And that's actually something I really like. And yeah, this project, the working title for now is called NFTverse, and the midterm goal is to create more artworks for it. We already created a lot behind the scenes, and structure out the new papers, and how we potentially can do a drop. The comic books probably will be free to read, and yeah, the main goal is here to memorialize the best and best, best crypto projects that are that wrote NFT history, and had a big impact on also on my person. So
it's definitely a very, very exciting time. I have a final question for you. Since you're an inspiring entrepreneur, what message would you like to convey to NFTStudio24 viewers, NFT collectors, Web3 investors, stakeholders who are working together to develop the blockchain industry as a whole? What message do you have for them?
Maybe multiple messages. I mean, one very important would be never give up, especially if you have some hurdles to overcome. It can be that you have to face very hard times, because if you are a CEO or the leader of a project, you never have everything under control. And if you're a solo artist, it's easy. I mean, you're just a solo artist, you have everything under control. But that's not how it works if you create a bigger project. And sometimes things will not work out that well as you have planned it, but don't give up. Continue, find solutions, and even if it means that you have to face maybe even hate or not so nice comments from the community, continue, work on it, and try your best. And basically that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Well, you're doing it, you're succeeding, and it's an exciting time. I congratulate you on all the success that ENCODE Graphics has had so far. I know more is coming down the pike, and I can't wait to start seeing more editions of the comics come out because they're truly terrific.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Pr1mal
I
Cypher,
also want
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Aaron, I want to mention one thing because I covered the different comic titles and the mid and long-term goal for this bridged project with the other NFT communities. But there is one thing I'm pretty excited, and we will release it in around 3 or 4 weeks. It will be a project with a bigger company who actually did something very innovative in the NFT scene, and I'm especially proud when I can release the real info about it. I cannot tell at the moment because I'm bound to an NDA, but it's not far away. It's around the corner, and yeah, it's a pleasure.
Okay, great. That's a great tease. So I hope you come back on NFT Studio 24 once you're able to make that announcement. We'd love to talk to you more about it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having
Pr1mal
me.
Cypher, thanks so much for your time today. I'm Logan Crawford for NFT Studio 24. If you enjoyed today's program, make sure to leave a like or a comment, and of course, subscribe to NFT Studio 24. Until next time.